Hey, everybody, it's Scott Steen with winnersandwhiners.com coming to you with the NBA Thursday edition of Today in Sports Betting. As always, I'm joined by my partner, the one and only Mr. Scott Reichel, finishing up last day down there in Florida, buddy. Last day in Florida. You sad?
No, I had a good time. It's going to be interesting going back to cold weather, but based on my complexion, probably a good move. So we'll see what happens.
At least it's not as cold as it was when you left.
That is
So,
true.
and you didn't even have to know where you flew out of to say that's true. As we were in the deep freeze last week. So, Scott, got a couple of intriguing NBA contests here this evening. And let's see here. How about the Mavericks and 76ers? This one, Bet Online currently has it at 4.5. And the total on that one is going to be around 228, depending on where you get it. That is a little bit of 227.5 out there. It is up from 226. Again, this game is open at 5.5, 4.5, 5, pretty much across the board. What are your thoughts here, Scott?
Well, the truth is that Dallas, even though it has played a little bit better lately, I don't want to take them against Philly. Philly, we've talked about numerous times on how this team is so much better at home than it is on the road. And shocker, Philly's at home, so I can't really go against the team that's 13-2 at home. Looking at some other factors, though, Porzingis I know is questionable for this game. I mentioned in the last game that we ended up talking about between Dallas and Boston how Dallas is significantly better defensively when Porzingis does not play. I know Porzingis is statistically one of the worst defenders in the entire league this season. He's missed the last two games. Dallas this season is giving up 113.6 points per game.
Right.
Last two games, they allowed 92 and 107.
Yeah, they give up less than 100. They average less than 100 in those two games.
I'm just saying. I threw it out there. So I told everybody that if Porzingis doesn't play, you should probably look towards unders for Dallas because this team defensively is a lot better, which is why this total has moved to the over, and it kind of surprises me because I know Philly, is a good offensive team, and I know that Dallas likes to go up and down a little bit. Total's going from 225 and up to 228. How am I going to take the over if I've seen Dallas the last couple of games without Porzingis? The team defensively is significantly better.
Well, the problem is it's kind of fool's gold because it's apples and oranges because you've got a big man that's for Philly that you didn't have for either one of those two teams. So theoretically, Porzingis can make more of an impact against Embiid.
Give Boban more minutes.
What's that?
Give Boban more minutes. They might actually do that, honestly. It's really not a terrible idea.
Well, they're not going to do that. So
I think he might play a decent amount tonight. But then again, it's also a matter of the fact that Embiid isn't exactly the greatest at running up and down the court. So I don't think Boban will get torched on the fast break. But the issue is Dallas simply doesn't have bodies for Embiid, but I don't think Porzingis could guard Embiid anyway. So I don't think that really matters. But would you agree about being a little bit hesitant towards the over when you've seen Dallas and how much drastically better they are defensively when Porzingis doesn't play?
Well, yeah, and it also the fact that this Philadelphia defense has been playing better as of late. They've, of course, it's kind of hard to, Chicago is kind of one of those weird teams. You're used to Chicago not being a big scoring team. They're actually 8th in the NBA in scoring, and Philly gave up 105 to Chicago. That's a good performance there against them. Then they average giving up 106 in their two games against Toronto. So. I'm not sure if this Philadelphia defense has turned a bit of a corner there because they had been kind of a train wreck before that. So do you think this Philadelphia defense is getting better? Or do you think they just ran up against the right competition at the right time?
I think it's a mix of both. I think Toronto, despite being a solid team, or at least over the last couple of weeks, they lost to Miami yesterday. They had issues scoring the entire game. So, they're offensively challenged. And I know Lowry has been in and out of the lineup over the last couple of weeks because of injury. So that also could play a factor. But overall, I think everything that you just said kind of points to what I think, which is that I can't really take the over in the spot.
Yeah.
Dallas' defense has gotten better, and it's better without Porzingis. And truth is, since Dallas has won 2 in a row without Porzingis, I don't think he's going to play tonight. That's just my opinion. And Philly's defense has gotten better as well. I think 228 is too high. So for me, even though there is a lot of over money, I disagree with it. Now, of course, if Porzingis does play, then I'm going to retract my statement. But assuming Porzingis is out, I would probably lean under here. But I do like Philly to get the job done.
Yeah, I do too. I think this is kind of a weird spot for Dallas. Dallas has played 8 straight home games. They haven't been on the road since the 3rd of February.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just a one-game set there in Atlanta. For the most part, they've spent all of February at home, with the exception of that one game where they flew to Atlanta and then flew back. So they're hitting the road here for a little bit of an East Coast swing. And I always look for any kind of a change in situation like that where they go from a big road trip back home or a big homestand going on the road. I think this is a good spot for Philly.
I agree.
I don't love the number, although I'll take 4.5. Anything south of 5, I'm a player. I'm a buyer here. Anything north of that, I've got to think it out. So,
sure.
My main play is going to be Philly, and yeah, I don't know about the total. That's I'm passing on the total. I don't hate your logic.
I'm gonna have to pass until I know if Porzingis is playing or not. But I feel like I made a decent case.
Agreed. All right, Scott. Let's move into the late game there on TNT. And a couple of psycho teams here for you. How about the New Orleans Pelicans and the Milwaukee Bucks? Milwaukee Bucks at home throwing 9 to the Pelicans. And this game has opened at 240, Scott. And people said, oh, no, that's too low. It is now 242, 242.5 across the board.
I'm not complaining with the line move.
Where you get it. You think that's the right line move? You think this?
Of course, I think this total should probably be around 245. Like, you can't look at an under between these teams. At least, I don't think you can. I mean, you might make the argument that it's still too high and everything like that. But if Milwaukee just scored 139 against Minnesota, we've seen New Orleans play defense, and it's on the second out of a back-to-back. You don't think Milwaukee can score another 135 here? Because I do.
Yeah, and these are two teams. This is certainly New Orleans team is seen a lot of big numbers, and they haven't been afraid of them as far as the totals go. They're 7-1 to the over when the totals of 230 or higher. So, and 22-8 on the season overall. So that's definitely an over team. They do not have the capability of playing defense. Milwaukee on occasion does. Any chance the Milwaukee defense steps up here enough to keep that total under?
I think it might step up in the second half, mostly because of tired legs, because New Orleans had to play a pretty close game against Detroit yesterday. But that's one thing, and 1 by 10. So you can say, New Orleans cruised, and not quite. Team trailed at the half, had to come back from behind, and had to play the starters pretty much for the entire game. So I do think New Orleans will be fatigued, especially with the up-tempo style that it likes to play, and Milwaukee also likes to play up-tempo. So I think you'll see a lot of points early in this game. I think if you want to look to the over, first half's a good option there. Try to get in before the fatigue angle and try to just rely on a track meet breaking out, which it should. These teams already played once this season, and the game ended up landing at 257. So I'm not surprised you have seen over money. I would still lean to the over, but I do think the Bucks -9 also has some value there. Milwaukee at home this season is 12-4. New Orleans on the road is 5-10. So you have seen New Orleans look a lot worse on the road than it has at home, where Milwaukee has been a very competent home team. But at the end of the day, Milwaukee's been really good at beating up on bad teams and really underwhelming against good teams.
I was gonna bring that up. They are the masters of putting up 125 plus against the Dregs.
Yep.
They don't always win. They sometimes get outscored putting up those totals, but usually when they're putting up those kind of numbers, they have a good chance to win, not necessarily cover.
I think Milwaukee kind of rolls here, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, it just seems like a bad spot for Milwaukee. I mean, for New Orleans playing a home game and then hitting the road, and that's not an insignificant road trip, Scott. A lot of times you see, Cleveland plays at home and then they have to go to Detroit or they have to go to New York.
Or a Los Angeles team traveling to Sacramento or something.
Correct. But you've got a team that played a home game last night in New Orleans and now has to travel to Milwaukee. That's a significant amount of travel. Yeah, I'm with you here. I don't love the 9. That seems a little tall, but I would lean Milwaukee.
Bucks team
And
total over, or is that too crazy?
I don't think so. I think that's the better play than the over. That's exactly what I was going to suggest. You've got 126. Yeah, I think they get there. I'm just looking at yeah, they've given up. This is a team that's given up on the road, 143 to Dallas, 129 to Chicago.
Mm.
129 to Utah. So yeah, this is a team that definitely has the capability of giving up 125 plus. So yeah, I'd probably lean team total over and also lean to the over. I'm with you. There's no way you can play the under here.
Mm.
I mean, God bless you if you want to take a spin on the under, and certainly could hit. You get that's the problem with playing a total like that is you get I don't know a 5 to 8 minute patch where they put up 2 points a minute, and you're in a world of hurt for an over.
Mm.
You pretty much got to crank them all the way through. So
I think if you wanted to look for an underplay, maybe New Orleans team total. If you think fatigue with the long road trips going to be an issue, but once again, I just look at this matchup and over is just the play for me.
Take the Bucks to cover if you're going to take New Orleans team total under.
I think you can, if you wanted to, I think you can go for a parlay potentially with Milwaukee. If you think that this team's going to roll and put up 140.
Milwaukee in the over.
Milwaukee parlay with the spread if you want to go for a little extra because I think we both agree that New Orleans should come out of it flat, but Milwaukee could easily put up 135.
Yeah, I'm with you. It looks like everybody's going to be although Holiday's going to be out for the Bucks tonight. Scott, it looks like.
I see game time, but yeah, it doesn't appear to be that promising.
I've got doubtful. So does it make a difference?
I think it would if you didn't look at Milwaukee's last couple games.
Okay.
I mean, you're going through the line here. Scored 128 against Sacramento. Scored 139 against Minnesota. And, yeah, he didn't play in those games either. So I think you can look maybe even for a Giannis. I don't know what stat line he's going to put up tonight, but I'll tell you what, it's going to be disgusting. I'll tell you that much because he probably can go for 35, 15. And
yeah, this is a New Orleans defense that probably isn't on par with being as bad as Sacramento or Minnesota, but they're not that far off. They're not good.
By the way, worth mentioning, Sacramento lost to the Nets the other day, which means if they lose to the Knicks, still got plus 250 for Walton to be the next coach fired.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Anything else on the NBA card get your attention for today?
Well, I kind of just alluded to Sacramento losing to the Nets. The Nets play Orlando. I know you have a little bit of fans in attendance for Brooklyn. I know Brooklyn's offense has been great lately. Orlando can't score. Let me just throw out this lineup for you with Orlando. You have Vucevic, the all-star at center. Good player. I'm not going to try to, pretend he's not. You got Aminu. This is all projected. You got Aminu, James Ennis, Evan Fournier, Michael Carter-Williams. What? That's a lineup in the NBA in 2021. And this team.
Serious household names there, isn't there?
That's hideous. It's a hideous lineup. And Terrence Ross comes off the bench. He's probably going to play 30-something minutes, but still.
And Vucevic is nursing an ankle.
He's always half injured, but he's a great player. But
I know he's gonna go, but he hurt his ankle in the last game. I'm just saying.
You look at that offense. You look at that lineup. I know the Nets defense isn't good, but it has turned a little bit of a corner with a question mark at the end of it.
Okay.
I got to assume Brooklyn with some fans in attendance will just kind of take them behind the woodshed. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I do think the Nets should be able to do enough to win by 12 or so. I just don't see how Orlando's going to score enough points because the Nets, if you look at the recent results, has just been walking into basically 120 against the dregs of the league or against the below-average teams. And Orlando is questionable to score more than 105 in any given game. So I got to look to Brooklyn. I think you'd agree with that.
Yeah, they were a team that was able to get it done with defense last year, and they've always been offensively challenged, at least the last few seasons. That hasn't changed. The only thing
everyone got injured.
Their defense has gotten significantly worse. So
everyone got injured, though. You had Fultz who got injured. One of their best defenders, Ian Isaac, got injured. It's really just a matter they got bit by the injury bug, and you can't shake it. So you're kind of just stuck with what you have.
And again, when you're a terrible offensive team, when you're one-dimensional like that, and the one dimension goes out, you're in a world of hurt. So, yeah I don't hate that. Anything else?
Overall, not really.
Okay.
I am kind of interested potentially and looking at the Wizards plus 7.5.
Yeah, I saw that.
I know Denver has been playing better lately, but Washington, I think's a good enough team based on current form to not be getting 7.5 from Denver. Because weren't they just getting 7.5 from the Lakers, and they won the game outright?
Oh, they ended up getting 6.5, but yeah, that's
I know the Lakers are a lot worse right now than.
Of course, they caught 12. They caught 12 from the Clippers and lost by 19. So
that was also on a back-to-back. But yes, I think that the issue I had, that was a back-to-back off of an overtime game. But I still think that the issue I have with the Nuggets is the fact that this team wins games. I don't consider them a team that wins by a ton of margin. They do occasionally, but the Wizards, I think the markets are still looking at the standings and the records and Washington's stats and just say the team's not very good. But in reality, this team has completely flipped the switch over the last 2 weeks, and I don't think the markets have fully adjusted.
Yeah, I wasn't no part of a team on a 4-game West Coast road trip that just came off a back-to-back and then headed to altitude. Sorry.
Yeah, I just think you'd agree that it seems like the markets are still mispricing the Wizards to some degree, a little bit.
Yeah, I think there's spots to pick your value on the Wizards. I don't think this is one of them.
Do we both agree on the Knicks tonight?
Well, I have a premium on that game, so
never mind. Well, I personally would have to lean to the Knicks. I know the Knicks ended up losing to Golden State. Pretty close game there. Sacramento is complete garbage. We've talked about it numerous times. I still think Walton to be next coach fired at plus 250 on BetOnline is a hell of a deal, because we talked about how if they lose to the Nets and the Knicks, and even hypothetically Detroit on a back-to-back for tomorrow.
Not letting him on the plane, buddy. They're not letting him on the plane to come up to Sacramento.
They're not even just the plane. They might throw him in the trunk of the car. Like it's just not going to be pretty. So Soprano style. So
you'll be like Billy Bats in the Goodfellas.
Yeah, that's not a good spot you want to be in there. But I think you'd agree that based on the fact that Minnesota just fired their coach, it doesn't really seem like anybody else is in danger of being fired immediately.
No, we said that's a good bet. That's
just saying. It's just I don't see how Walton will last another week if they lose the next 2-3 games. I just don't see it.
All right, very good. As always, thanks for your thoughts, man. That's we like breaking down the NBA card every day, and of course, if you're looking for even more breakdowns of these or any other games, don't forget to stop by and check out winnersandwhiners.com, #1 site in the world for predictive sports analysis. And don't forget to listen to me and Scott each and every day as we put together our little show called Today in Sports Betting. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And, of course, we wish you guys nothing but the best of luck today. Hope every one of those tickets in your pocket turns into cash money back at the window. You guys have a great day. And thanks for watching. As always, for myself, for Scott Reichel, for all of us over here at Winners and Whiners, have a good one. And we will see you tomorrow on Today in Sports Betting. Take care, everybody.